post. Jalen Tolbert got free and Rush dimed him.
26-24, Cowboys hold on to get their second home win of the 2024 season. They've won 4 of 5 despite being eliminated from the postseason after the Commanders rallied to beat the Eagles. A gutty performance from this Cowboy defense that refused to let them lose this game. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus. And Bryan, I thought after Jordan Lewis made one of the best interceptions you will ever see, ripping a ball away from Jalen McMillan with about 6.5 to play, that was all she wrote. Yeah. But a Cowboys offensive 3-and-out then resulted in a Buccaneers touchdown drive where you had Baker Mayfield hitting Ryan Miller for 13 yards. The Cowboys couldn't do anything on offense after that. 3-and-out, punt it right back. But an amazing play. It looked like Jordan Lewis was about to get a sack, possible fumble of Baker Mayfield. He shovel passes it forward to Rachaad White, and Deron Bland says, "Give me that football," and rips it away from Rachaad White. Bryan, you said at the beginning of the year, Mike Zimmer might just save Mike McCarthy's job. He might have just done it with the way the defense played tonight.
Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out, but they are playing very, very well for Mike. And considering all the things that are happening, injury-wise, Brad and Bay brought up the number of cornerbacks that have played at various times this year, losing your defensive ends. Heck, you get some guys at defensive tackle. You get some really nice efforts from Oso Digizua. Mozzie Smith, was flashing a little bit tonight. Nick Vigil is a Mike linebacker, and Nick Vigil has been, special teams guy, personal protector. He was around the ball a ton tonight. So guys like Bland, Lewis, Hooker,
Donovan Wilson played his best game of the season.
Yeah, they did a really nice job. This is not an easy Tampa offense. You saw Tampa's ability to go up and down the field when they really, really want to, and Dallas was able to make some stops along the way.
Unbelievable. No DeMarcus Lawrence, no DeMarvion Overshown, no Trayvon Diggs. Eric Kendricks is out, and this Cowboys defense finds a way to get 4 sacks, multiple turnovers. You mentioned, but how about, some of the guys that we've been really critical of today. Yeah. I thought Mozzie Smith set the tone early. Mozzie made a tackle on a run play, is able to draw a holding play on the second down. Yeah. Mozzie played well today. Linval Joseph's getting a sack. He's getting a tackle for loss. Everybody really stepping up on the defensive side of the football. Maris Leofau popped a ball loose, but unfortunately Vigil wasn't able to recover on the sideline. But, Micah Parsons, the numbers aren't going to show just how dominant he was. And even Carl Lawson on the other side, who was just bench pressing Tristan Wirfs, one of the best tackles in football, back into the lap of Baker Mayfield. Can't say enough about the defensive effort today.
Yeah, they did a really, really nice job. And, and hats off, too, to the offense in the first half of that football game.
Cooper Rush threw for the 5th most yards of his career in the first half of this game.
Absolutely. And CeeDee Lamb, the way he played, Dallas just could not run the ball. That was something that was very reminiscent of what we'd seen somewhat earlier in the year. But here they are with the, with the way that they play. And, it's that part of it with Cooper Rush, not making mistakes. Taking what he can get, the underneath stuff, it just really was a great effort by this Cowboys defense, as banged up as they've been, to hold this thing together. They gave up some drives, but man, they also did a nice job of getting off the field and creating pressure, getting sacks when they need to.
Sure did. 26-24, Cowboys now improve with 2 wins at home. They're 7-8 on the year. They were eliminated from postseason play heading into this game, and you could tell. It was a very dejected Mike McCarthy with his pregame visit with Brad Sham. You could tell it in the sound of his voice, but this team came out and played a heck of a football game against a Bucs team that has everything to play for. Tampa Bay losing now for the Bucs to win the NFC South. They're going to need to win at least one of their next 2 games. They've got Carolina and New Orleans, and they're going to need the Falcons to lose at least one of their next 2 games. Cowboys are making fans in Atlanta right now very, very happy tonight, as they're just looking to play spoiler the rest of the season. And don't look now, but they're heading to Filthy next week, who's still trying to clinch the NFC East. They might not have Jalen Hurts, who left the game today with a concussion. So the Cowboys are looking to play Grinchmas during this holiday season, as they now are 7-8. But you're right. The running game with Rico Dowdle had been the talk coming into this game.
Yes.
Tampa Bay was very, very good. Rico, 13 carries, 23 yards, 1.8 per carry. but CeeDee Lamb was brilliant in the first half, came down hard on that one big 52-yard catch. He's been dealing with the AC joint for weeks now. The Cowboys definitely were holding him out in the second half of this one. Big drives, they put him back on the field, but Ryan Flanoy stepping up with a couple of big catches. He had a 26-yarder, set up their only points with that field goal there to get to 26. I mean, that was ultimately critical.
Yeah, but going into this game, you felt like, though, that the running game was going to be a problem for the Cowboys. But where these Buccaneers had problems was in the secondary. Where they, here's a team that blitzes linebackers, blitzes secondary players. I'm looking forward to seeing the tape in the morning and seeing how much pressure did they bring, and were they able to pick it up with their backs and with their offensive line, sort those things out. Brock Hoffman, BB, those guys. If when I'm watching this tape, I'm going to say, wow, okay, blitz picked up, because that's what the Buccaneers' game plan was. Cooper Rush did a nice job, though, when he had to deal with some pressure, kind of slide a little bit, making the throw. But the Bucs play with a lot of separation. We saw it last week with Carolina. Do the same thing. And so, at halftime, the adjustments were get the ball down the field. Mm-hmm. And, I think, that a couple times in this second half they were able to do that. But, man, great job by, again, Cooper Rush not making big mistakes in this game.
877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text, 877-881-1053. As it is the official postgame shows, we're hanging out here in the Miller Lite Field Club, brought to you by Pepsi, made for Cowboys watching. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout. Some of the texts coming in from the 571. They were able to win this game in spite of McCarthy's second half play calling. I think that's fair. I mean, the offense was very good in the first half. I think you realized maybe why they came out and ran the ball 4 straight times, because the running game was non-existent. Everything that you had just said, kind of the way the Cowboys had run the ball in between the tackles, that's the strength of Tampa Bay's run defense.
Yeah.
But they were able, when Cooper Rush...
But that's Dallas's offense.
Yeah.
And you look at where Dallas runs the ball, it's
all inside.
It's all inside. So, yeah, that was going to be. But the way we were talking about it, though, too, ball outside, throw the ball against this secondary, though. And the secondary just not good enough. And dealing with some injuries that they've had as well, makes it be a little bit more compromised. And I felt like that Dallas took advantage of that, but the running aspect of it was just not going to be a factor tonight. It just wasn't going to happen.
817, I was Team Tank, but to be honest, that was the type of win that makes me say Mike McCarthy should be the Cowboys coach, and actually this team does have the attitude and mentality to eventually win a big playoff game. They're certainly playing tough. You got to give them that. And to me, I mean, the second half, the defense closed it out. Offensively, I still think you could be critical. Like the text before about the play calling. Offense almost lost you this football game.
Sure.
It'd be a very, very different story if Deron Bland doesn't make that play, and somehow Tampa Bay, who had never won a game in the history of their franchise, down 9 or more points with 3 minutes to play, and somehow
found a way.
They did.
Yeah.
And we'd be sitting here basically blaming the entire thing on the offensive second half performance.
Sure.
Because you got the turnovers you needed, you got the stops you needed defensively. I still think you can have a talk about play calling, but yeah, I do think you got to give some love to Mike McCarthy with how this team came out. Even knowing they were eliminated, they had so much heart. And Brad, we'll talk with him in a little bit, but he was talking to Babe about, was this their best win of the year?
Yeah, it's you like I said, this game, when you start to talk about what they were missing, on really as a team, but then what Tampa was playing for. You basically are in the locker room and then you find out that the Commanders have beaten the Eagles and now you're eliminated. Yeah, but there's a lot of guys in that locker room that are not established players. I've been saying this for weeks now, that, they're saying, hey, they're playing hard for Mike. Yeah, they're playing hard for themselves. They're playing hard for each other. That's really where this thing is all about. There's a lot of guys like Brock Hoffman, Rico Dowdle, Ryan Flournoy. Guys that haven't been big-time players, and they're having to play hard to, Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis keeps putting great film out there. Jordan Lewis is not going to be a $4 million corner anymore. Someone is going to look at Jordan Lewis and say, oh, by the way, we're going to pay this guy to cover, and we're going to pay this guy to tackle and play tough and be a leader and all that. So, yeah, these guys are playing for each other, but they're playing for their futures. And that's when you get a team that has been struggling like they have really all year, especially early in the year when young guys have to play, non-established guys have to play, you're going to get these kinds of effort on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, defensively, Maris Leofau, a rookie.
What has he done?
Yeah,
he's a base linebacker, and all of a sudden, when your better defensive players get hurt, now he gets thrown into the mix.
Yep, with the green dot, calling your defense.
Yeah.
I mean, Golston, free agent, he's looking to get paid, and he's been playing fantastic.
Yeah.
Jordan Lewis, free agent, looking to get paid and playing really well.
Oso Digizua,
Carl Lawson, Nealon's a rookie. Right? I mean, Donovan Wilson, give him a lot of love. That dude got his contract this offseason, but certainly came out, played a hell of a football game. But they finally got Ferguson involved a little bit on offense with 6 catches for 40 yards. He had 9 targets. Somebody else had to step up in the second half. I think you definitely saw just how valuable CeeDee Lamb is to this team.
Yeah.
Without him on the field, this offense really couldn't do anything. They couldn't move the football. 877-881-1053, the number to call. The number to text. All right, we will get to your phones. We'll also hear from the voice of your Cowboys, Brad Sham. We'll get Mike McCarthy, Cooper Rush, more audio from the locker room. Our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Every moment, every touchdown, every... Brought to you by AT&T, the official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. WinStar World Casino and Resort, proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Slate number Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys.
3rd and 5, and Mayfield in the gun. High snap. He pulls it down. He dances in the pocket. He's rushed. He's sacked. Chauncey Golston got that one, and you can credit that to the rookie Graham Barton snapping the ball up over Mayfield's head.
26-24, Cowboys get the win at home over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It went down to the wire. Deron Bland just ripping the football away from Rachaad White to seal the deal for the Cowboys. Cooper Rush, 26-35, 292 yards and a touchdown. But the defense really brilliant. That was one of 4 sacks as Nick Vigil led the team with 10 tackles. Deron Bland was brilliant with that fumble and 8 tackles. And the pass rush was really pretty relentless for the most of the game. And, wow, what a way to finish it. But right now, let's pause 10 seconds so our stations to identify themselves across the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus hanging out here at the Miller Lite Field Club at AT&T Stadium. We will hear from Jerry Jones, of course, Mike McCarthy, Cooper Rush, more audio from the locker room. But right now, let's bring in our Cowboys insider, Bobby Belt, as you just cheered for America's team on the field. Now see them on the reels. Cowboys themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, now at a casino near you. Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. If you've got a gambling problem, please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. Bobby, your takeaways from a wild ending.
I mean, the ending itself was just insane in terms of the back and forth and just the wild sequence with Baker breaking out of that sack and then the strip from Bland. And, I mean, all that was insane. Overall, my biggest takeaway from this was that Mike McCarthy coached an offense today that looked very different from the one I've seen on tape most of the year, schematically. Tons of condensed formations.
How about that?
It was very classic, like 3-5-step drop, get the ball out West Coast. It was very much leaning into the passing game against a Tampa defense that had struggled against the run at times this year. I mean, they ran something like, on the year, I think they've run 2-3% of their offensive plays out of 4+ receiver sets. Mm-hmm. I think they ran 7 or 8 plays tonight out of 4+ receiver sets, which was a staple when McCarthy first got to Green Bay, was their 5 receiver looks. Their 4 and 5 receiver looks were more common there than they had been anywhere else. This felt tonight to me like, all right, if we're eliminated, then these last 3 weeks, at the very least, it's going to look exactly the way I want it to look, and I'm going to call it that way. And so I thought the biggest difference tonight was, I think we're going to go back and look at tape and say this offense looks completely different from the one that they've run for the first 15 weeks of the year. You
think they played condensed because they only have one wide receiver?
Dallas themselves?
Yeah.
No, I mean, Dallas was running out there with, like I said, way more large receiver packages. I mean, obviously the one.
But no, that's what I'm saying, though, that
Yeah.
they figured out that they can't play with these guys playing wide. That they have to play condensed to try and create space.
It could be. It's the only thing that's interesting to me is it's you realized it now, like this.
Oh no, there's a lot of things.
Yeah, no, I know.
I mean, we're getting labeled as haters because we want Mike McCarthy gone. That's not the case at all.
No.
Not being a hater here. I'm just, you kind of wonder, well, where were some of these things like in week 2, week 3, week 4?
I feel like if they were still in this, I think they probably lean into, we have to run the football to play things safe, try to win these games. I think today they just kind of played with I don't want to use the term reckless, but a no holds barred, no fear. Like, we're just going to run things exactly how we want. Because right now it doesn't matter if this totally bites us. I need to have the comfort of knowing I went out doing it the way I wanted to.
Sure.
That's the way it looked to me tonight from the jump, the way they were calling the offense. And it felt like that for a lot of the evening. And so that was the thing that I think most stood out to me about this game, was how much it felt like Mike doing things, all right, I'm going to do it my way, and that's what we're doing the rest of this way.
Do you feel like he saved his job this season?
I don't know. I
see, if to me, you're hearing so much positivity about Mike. This is something then that maybe we should have heard from Jerry Jones, and then like, hey, we're working on an extension with Mike.
Yeah, I mean,
or were they letting this thing play out?
I do think that they're still. I think they were still, as of a couple weeks ago, and probably even now, they're still making up their minds on what they want to do.
Yeah.
I have a hard time seeing you failing to make the playoffs as enough of a success that you go, let's run it back. I have a hard time seeing that actually happens, but they're talking like it at least, or that it could be a possibility.
I'm surprised we haven't heard somebody in the national media or yourself saying, hey, hearing that Mike McCarthy is they're working on a contract extension right now.
And that's the thing. I don't think they know what they want. I don't think he has made up his mind either way yet. It does feel very much like Jerry is, or at the very least, he's done a good job, as he said in interviews, not tipping his body language and not telling people what it is that he wants to do as Mike McCarthy takes the podium right now. The way this organization has talked about no quit the last few weeks, that feels like they hold that up as their Super Bowl now, which feels disappointing to me. And I don't know why that all of a sudden is the standard of what do you do moving forward. Did they quit? I mean, that should be the very baseline minimum is how I feel about it.
You've heard my reasoning why I don't think they've quit, because you've played with so many young guys who have not even been established as players.
Right.
Yeah.
They've got no choice.
Well, they're competitive. They're still competitive
Yes,
people.
hell yes. They signed up for 17 weeks of football.
There's a reason why when a team quits, that usually gets you fired, because it's completely unacceptable for a professional to have quit. So to me, it's like, you saying, well, they haven't quit. That's like saying, okay, well, they've met the very bare minimum requirements of what their job is under contract in the NFL. That's what you're telling me.
Right.
That is not enough of a reason to me to say run it back.
Yeah. It's also, how do you weigh big picture? I mean, the first half of the season was just so bad, where you're historically losing at home and you're down 20-plus points in the fourth quarter. And then the second now, okay, you look up and you're basically out of contention and you're just fighting and clawing. Now things are coming together. I think a lot of that does have to do with defensively. I think Zim's grown with this unit. They've grown with him. The defense has played so much better since the bye week, really. You've seen the improvement. But, I mean, when you're judging the full body of work this season, I don't think you can just forget about how bad the Saints game was, the Lions game was, the Ravens game was for 3 quarters, the Eagles coming in here and the Texans coming in here and just beating the brakes off of you, right? I mean,
games and losses of Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, they've got 2 really quality wins, in my opinion, on the road against Pittsburgh. Shorthanded, they pulled it out today. Shorthanded, they pulled it out at home against a team in Tampa Bay that had everything to play for. But you can't be so reactionary when you win 4 of 5 and maybe they end up winning these next 2 games. I think you still have to go ahead and look at, well, why did we start so poorly? Why did we end up in this position?
Yeah, and I don't think comfortably they got to make up their mind on how they want to talk about the injuries. Do you want to talk about the injuries as the reason why you lost, or do you want to talk about the injuries as because they're going on the streak right now with all the injuries? That's when they're going on the streak. They had better health earlier in the year when they struggled. So they got to make up their mind on how they want to talk about those. Do you want to point to those as the reason that you struggled, or do you want to point to those and say they clearly didn't matter much because that's when you were winning ball games?
I think it was Stephen Jones, the world's smallest violin. Nobody wants to hear about the injuries. He said that. He came out and said that.
Yeah, Jerry has also mentioned, though, that he's got to keep some of it in perspective.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he just got asked, and you'll hear it in the audio here in a sec, he got asked, Jerry did, about were the injuries the biggest challenge or the biggest reason for missing the playoffs this year? And Jerry, to his credit, just kind of passed on that. Was like, I'm not going to get into ranking and listing all of the reasons as to why. We've had a tough year overall. But I think that they were. It felt the last couple weeks like they really were wanting to lean into, hey, we had all these injuries. That was an issue. And to me, it's like, okay, well, which one is it? Are you going to lean into the injuries are the reason, or are you going to lean into look at the way we won games at the end? Because then that would say the injuries weren't that much of a reason because you won games with all those injuries.
Bobby, when you look at now all the impending free agents, and a lot of these guys are stepping up and playing big, meaningful football for you, the way Chauncey Golston continues to play. We've talked a lot about Osa and Jordan Lewis. Rico Dowdle's thrown into that mix. I mean, realistically, they do like to keep and sign their own, but financially, when you hear kind of how tight things might be, these are tough choices. I mean, who realistically do you think they're able to bring back?
I mean, obviously it all matters how much do guys want to play ball with you. Does a Jordan Lewis say, I've spent 8 years here, I'm comfortable just being here. I don't need to go get a big payday. I mean,
no.
Or does he say, I want to go out there and compete for a title?
Yeah.
Does a younger player like Rico Dowdle say, hey, I've got opportunity here. I can build my resume a little bit more. I know I can work in this offense. I might have to split time a little bit more somewhere else, establish myself. I've become comfortable with the training staff and the way that they help me back for a guy who's injury prone pretty frequently, it feels like. So, I mean, how do guys look at that through that lens? That's obviously a big question. But, I mean, I think they could make a lot of these guys work in terms of bringing them back. It's just at that point they're completely tied up on, well, we don't have any money to spend anywhere else. So if you want to just go get anyone new, that's not happening.
Well, they won't do that.
Right. But
they would rather sign their own and then try and bottom fish some of these guys, which it's worked out for them. Some of these guys have been good.
Absolutely.
Bobby, thank you so much, buddy.
I love you all.
We love you more. All right, there he goes, Bobby Bell. We'll get your voice of the Cowboys, Brad Sham. Mike McCarthy at the podium now. We'll hear from him. We'll hear from Jerry Jones. Your calls and texts, 877-881-1053. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
It's football season. Grab your Dallas Cowboys
store in Dallas or the new location at Preston Park Village in Plano, and visit Kohler.com now.
Shotgun for Rush, little play fake, rolls right, he wants to go deep, crosser Lamb! Oh, he's got it down at the 35. That's one of their favorite plays, and it just takes great protection because it's a long play to run, and Rush threw a strike to CeeDee Lamb for 35 yards.
CeeDee Lamb, absolutely brilliant tonight. Now, it's clearly he was affected by that AC joint injury, was very limited in the second half. Cowboys tried to use him, it seemed, as little as possible. But my gosh, I mean, he is just changing the record books as he had 100 receiving yards in the first half. Second consecutive game with at least 100 receiving yards in the first half. Also the first Cowboys player with 100 receiving yards in the first half of consecutive games. He's also going out there and breaking Jerry Rice records. Anytime you're in the same company with Jerry Rice, pretty darn impressive, as tonight he passed Jerry for the fourth most scrimmage yards by an NFL wide receiver in his first 5 seasons of his career. Also passed Drew Pearson for fourth on the Cowboys' all-time receptions list. Had over 100 catches again for a season, as he had 100 catches in the first half. Tonight, when he had that amazing play that almost was a touchdown, trying to roll over a body into the end zone. He was ruled down at the 1. Ezekiel Elliott ends up banging it through. But amazing performance from CD, 7 for 105 on 8 targets, including a long 52-yarder, one of the plays of the year. Cowboys 26, Bucks 24, as the boys improve to 7-8. They get their second win here at AT&T Stadium. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus as we hang out here at the Miller Lite Field Club at AT&T Stadium. We'll hear from head coach Mike McCarthy momentarily, Cooper Rush as well. But right now, let's hear from your owner and general manager, Jerry Jones, who caught up with the media.
Proud of those guys, boy. They wouldn't give it up out there, so I'm real proud of them. And Mike McCarthy, he just won't let them not think they're playing for the Super Bowl out there. He won't let them do it. So proud of that. Proud of the coach. Thanks, guys. It's good. Well, Merry Christmas, too, every one of you.
Jerry, you seem pretty excited coming down the hallway.
Oh, my gosh. I just, it meant so much to us to get the win. That's an outstanding team out there, a playoff team. And but the key thing is that the defense, Mike Zimmer, Mike McCarthy, the players, they just right up until the last play, stripping that ball, they just won't, they don't differentiate. They're fighting all the way. And there's no question we're fighting with a very limited deck out here right now, and those guys are doing a great job, all of them, the players. But my hat's off to Mike McCarthy.
When you found out that you guys were eliminated before this game started, were you expecting the team to play like this?
Well, it was a down time. When Mike and I met in his office before the game, we both looked like we had lost somebody. And so it was something that you had to kind of get above the reality that we weren't going to go. But the other thing is, though, that, boy, I'm telling you, I hope everybody does agree with me. That's a big effort. Those turnovers, those forcing those fumbles, that interception, it may be one of the best interceptions I've ever seen on the goal line at the time they're supposed to have them. So can't say enough about the way that Mike's got the fight in the team.
What do you think about that effort after you found out you weren't going to go to the playoffs? How does that affect your evaluation of Mike McCarthy?
Well, again, Mike's an outstanding coach, and all I'm just proud that they got rewarded and the team is playing at that level because he's got them coached up to play at that level, even though you realize that when you're not in those playoffs, then you can't get to the big one. But he's got this team, that's as good of emotional performance, effort performance, as I've seen us have, and I don't know what to compare it to.
What did you think of Cooper Rush's performance, especially in the first half?
Think he's getting better, thought he played better against Carolina, thought he is improving, which makes sense. That's what he's done before, and he'll be better the next game, and so on. So, listen, let's give Tampa their due. They're a good defense out there, and that's a big challenge for a quarterback. So, again, proud of him. Thought it didn't get away from him. Thought he was as big as it was. I have a lot of respect for that team, the coaching staff, and the quarterback. So, but boy, am I proud of these guys. We took it to them.
There's your owner and general manager, Jerry Jones.
Give him an extension then. Give him an extension this week then. Merry Christmas, Mike McCarthy. Hey, I'm not being mean or anything like that. I'm just saying, listen, we're hearing a lot of positive things. We're talking about him, Mike Zimmer. He's kind of, he's talked about them being together and all that and how they're kind of tied together, and he was so proud of the victory, and he was in the room with Mike. They were both down about it, Give him an extension then. This week needs to be the week. Give Don Yee a call. Get this thing ironed out and get Mike McCarthy back in here. Let's see how serious you are about extending this guy. If we're hearing all the positive things about him is from the general manager, hey, this guy's got him playing hard and all that. You can see it. They're playing hard.
Yeah.
I believe they're playing hard for themselves. But, yeah, the coaching staff involved. So, yeah, go ahead and get this thing extended out and make that happen. All I'm hearing is positivity about it, I mean, they are 7-8 right now.
Yeah.
They're out of the playoffs. We'll see what happens in Philadelphia. We'll see what happens against the Commanders at the end. But, if Jerry Jones feels this good about Mike McCarthy, pick up that phone, call Don Yee, and get this extension done. Offer him a 3-5 year deal, whatever you want to offer him. Get this thing done. Because to me, it sounds like that Jerry Jones is kind of locked in on this guy.
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
No, I've kind of felt that way over the last few weeks. Momentum's kind of been building towards that.
Yeah.
With the way they've talked about it. And obviously, the Cincinnati loss, that was tough, and maybe they put them back at, okay, we're reevaluating.
He was one of the reasons why you lost that game, by the way. And I'm just going to remind people of that one, too.
I don't think it's hating, okay?
No, not at all.
It could have been the reason why you lost this one. And strictly when it comes to the way the offense played.
You didn't lose this.
You didn't lose it.
No.
Defensively, they bailed you out.
Yeah.
They did. But you do have to have a conversation about the offense. And I do think, hey, it's totally fair. Some text came in like, you don't have CD, he's hurt. You're playing with, who are you playing with out there? Like Tolbert's down. But the defense kind of had the same excuses. And the defense just kept making stop after stop after stop.
I think the defense has lost more players.
They have.
Than what you've lost in, what you've lost with the offense.
Yeah.
But hey, Jerry Jones, if you're listening in the helicopter driving or flying back home, or
get the extension done.
Yeah, get that extension done. I'm excited. Hey, if you're happy about Mike McCarthy and all that, get this thing done. Don't wait around now. Make it a Merry Christmas for everybody. Make it a Merry Christmas for this coaching staff too. I'm hearing nothing but positivity about Mike McCarthy here. So, Jerry, try not to read body language, just listening to your words. But get this thing done. Make everybody happy this before the end of the season.
877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text, brought to you by the National Medal of Honor Museum. Join the mission at MOHmuseum.org and AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get to some of your calls, and a lot of you have been waiting patiently on hold. Let's start off line 7. We got Larry in Fort Worth. What's going on, Larry? All right, let's go to, it's our guy Jim, Big Jim in Round Rock. What up, Jim?
Jim?
Whoa, Jim. All right, let's try Gary in New Mexico, and then if this one doesn't work, maybe we can just reset the phones, and then we'll jump into that coming back. We've also got Mike McCarthy and Osa to get to. But
hey guys, I guess can you hear me?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Hey, I guess the callers aren't persevering as hard as the players were tonight. They kind of gave up on you there. First off, guys, Merry Christmas, and thank you so much for putting up with us fans and our stupid questions and our ridiculous takes that you have to listen to every week until 1 o'clock in the morning.
It's all good.
Yeah, okay, one thing, and then I got a question for Bryan, and I'll hang up.
Sure.
C.D. Lamb, and I'm an old crusty like Bryan, not quite as old, but I'm old school, man. But C.D. Lamb has earned my respect as a fan. That dude is playing through a painful injury, and he's giving it everything he's got, and he's excelling while doing it. He's putting up great numbers. Drew Pearson had Roger Staubach and Tony Dorsett. Michael Irvin had Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. C.D. Lamb is having an all-pro season with Cooper.
Yeah, he absolutely is. I think we might have lost you there, Gary. But either way,
he was making some good points.
He was. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've loved CD But today, I think anybody that's ever questioned or doubted, I don't know how you couldn't love the performance that he put up out there. I mean, gutting it out, and he has.
He's right about the level of players he's playing. And I mean this is no disrespect to Cooper Rush, who's standing on the podium right now, but they've just kind of figured out a running game. They got a backup quarterback that's really not willing to throw it down the field like it needs to be.
The second half when he couldn't play, you could see what the offense looked like.
Nah, man, this guy's worth every dime you pay him.
He's on a Canton-like trajectory right now.
Absolutely.
When you look at how he started here in his first 5 years. And keep in mind, his rookie season, he was the third wideout on the team.
Yep.
He was behind Amari and Michael Gallup. I mean, he probably had a little bit of a slow start numbers-wise, and he's still up there amongst the best to ever play the game. All right, back to your calls and texts. 877-881-1053. We'll hear from Mike McCarthy. We've got new player interviews as well. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game.
Dallas Cowboys Pepsi postgame show continues. Pepsi, proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Brought to you by Bill Nunnally, behind every great company. Pepsi, made for Cowboys watching. Buffalo Wild Wings. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. And by DallasCowboys.com. Keep track of the boys with daily podcasts and up-to-the-minute blogging at DallasCowboys.com and on the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Ball is out to the 17, first down. Mayfield pump fake, and Wilson on a blitz comes in and removes Mayfield's head. The ball might be out, and Donovan Wilson might be on it.
Wow. Man, Donovan Wilson,
hell of a player.
Maybe his best game of the season. I mean, some massive hits. That was one of them. He was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and see, this is where Mike Zimmer has figured it out. Keep Donovan Wilson down in the action. Let him like be in the middle of the field. Let him kind of patrol that area. Some really big hits that he had today. But Mike's kind of figuring out, hey, don't put him in a lot of coverage after what we saw with him and dealing with Kittle. That was a game plan of him covering Kittle down after down after down, and put him in some bad spots. Keep him free, play him down near the box, let him play crossing routes. He'll blow people up. He'll take a bad angle too every once in a while, but I'll tell you what, since that San Francisco game, he is playing a lot better.
He was popping tonight. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout here in the Miller Lite Field Club at AT&T Stadium. 26-24, Cowboys improving to 7-8 on the season. They get their second home win here at AT&T Stadium. Let's catch up with the voice of your Dallas Cowboys, the legendary Brad Sham. Brad, thank you for joining us. I mean, we've been talking about the defensive performance. What was the biggest takeaway from this victory for you?
I think I hate to just be trite, Zach, but the resilience, because they could have just folded, and you really kind of thought they were going to there at the end. They just could not get anything going offensively in the fourth quarter. But here comes Jordan Lewis, and here comes Deron Bland, and they played their best defense in the fourth quarter when they had to. I mean, that's pretty impressive. That's the sign of what has the chance to be a good football team.
Brad, when you look overall, though, man, that the offense in the second half just, it was just a struggle for them to have to get anything kind of going there. Did you feel like a different plan, or did the Bucs just kind of lock things down on you the second half?
Well, that's one of those. Let me talk to you tomorrow after
when we watch the film. Right, yeah.
But, it was a little mindful to me of that second quarter in the Cincinnati game when they just disappeared at the end of the second quarter. Everybody wanted to blame the loss on the misadventure on the block punt, and fair enough. But the offense disappeared there in the second quarter. So
empty possessions, as you talk about, yeah.
Yeah, empty possessions is what they had, and they couldn't run. That was not going to be a surprise. Tampa's one of the best run defenses in the league. And, and then, Lamb's limping. I mean, who are you throwing to, for one thing?
Exactly.
I really do think that the protection was pretty good all night. Did he get sacked maybe once, Rush? And he seemed to have enough time. But I think that you know it better than I do, Brian, the coverages as well as the fronts that Todd Bowles designs are tricky. And then so you got to have really good receivers who know how to work their way open with a backup quarterback. And that caught up to him in the fourth quarter. And then here came the defense to save him.
Brad Sham with us here on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that's a great point. When CeeDee Lamb's hurt in the second half, really were the targets. Ferguson started to get targeted. You did see Ryan Flanoy step up a little bit. But are you looking ahead now and projecting that might be priority number one? We got to try and get another weapon outside of CD.
Oh, there's so many priority number ones. I mean, I'd love to have. I think you better get a cornerback.
Yeah.
I think if they don't sign Odigizua, then you better get one or two defensive tackles. But they absolutely need another wide receiver. Excuse me. I'm not sure that they'll have Brandon Cooks in their plans for the money that he would want. And we've talked about this. I think although Tolbert made a couple of good plays tonight, but but I think that I thought Jalen Tolbert was ready to step up and be the number 2.
Sure.
And I think instead what he's shown us is that he's a pretty good number 3. So now you've got, I don't know what the deal is with Wingo, but he can't seem to work in. Brooks was hurt tonight. So now you're talking about Flanoy. They've got to have another wide receiver. So if there's a really good wide receiver wherever they're picking, and that's what they decide to do, that won't make me mad.
Brad, that would be Luther Burden, wide receiver, Missouri at 15.
Well, I was just thinking about him. I'll guarantee you he can play, but
he can.
I also was watching the Texas Clemson game, and I thought if that number 7 for Texas, the cornerback Barron.
Barron. I see what you're doing. Okay.
I love Jahdae Barron.
Yeah.
If he shows up, and Bryan, I am a BPA guy.
Yes, sir.
In the first round, probably in the second round, I am the best player available. I think you say this position wouldn't make sense. This position wouldn't make sense. Everybody else we need. And if you'll recall, when they drafted C.D. Lamb, no one thought they needed or were looking for a wide receiver.
Jason, LSU, edge.
Yeah.
Right? But C.D. Lamb fell,
right.
And they said we can't pass him up. So I'm a BPA guy. And if that guy happens to be Luther Burden, I'd be thrilled. And if that guy happens to be Barron from Texas, I'd be thrilled. And if after they do all their evaluation and they say that, there is a linebacker, there is a defensive tackle, there's a defensive end who's the best player, don't pass up the best player because they need all of that. They need everything.
Sir. Yes, sir.
When it comes to Tyler Guyton, there wasn't much of a rotation. He got a series in the mix there. Edoga, it didn't appear, we'll see, to your point, the tape, how he looked. But at this point, now that you're eliminated, would you like to see Tyler Guyton get as much playing time as he can?
Me personally, yes. It's interesting. I asked Mike McCarthy that on the pregame show, and he was so disconsolate over the fact
he was not happy,
that they had been eliminated. I guess he thought they still had a chance. And so now, the people who said that, and I think Bryan, we talked about this with Eric on the pregame show. There were some people after the Philly-Washington game today, and Dallas is eliminated. Some people were tweeting, "Well, it's time to play Trey Lance."
Right.
Well, no, you idiot! They've practiced for the entire week and put in a game plan. No, you don't change 4 guys just because something. But now they have a different situation, and I don't know if I feel any differently about Lance. I have to think about that. But in answer to your question, Zach, me personally, I want to see Tyler Guyton. Now, I asked McCarthy that as directly as I possibly could on the pregame show, and he kind of made a face, and he said, no, Edoga will start and he'll work in. Well, I get that. You prepared your best plan to win the game, and that's what you practice, and that's what you're going with, and I get it. I wouldn't have changed it at the last minute either. But I do think that they need to have a long discussion tomorrow about what they want from Tyler Guyton in the next 2 games, and I think it would, based on what I know, I don't know what I don't know, but based on what I know, it feels to me like it would be an opportunity missed if they didn't get Guyton every available snap the next 2 weeks.
Brad, anything else before we let you out of here?
Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. It's a great way to go into a holiday week.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Zach, I thought, and I said this at the end of the game, I think it was their best win of the year.
Yeah.
Babe said, well, Pittsburgh. And I said, yeah, Pittsburgh was good, and they had Prescott, and this was completely different because of everybody they've lost and everything they've been through, and they've got nothing to play for, and Tampa very much has something to play for. So I think this was their best win of the year, all told. No Kendrick, and I think that's a very positive thing. And I think they will try their best to win again next week, and I'm all for that. So happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah to you, sir. Merry Christmas as well. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you after Filthy.
I look forward to it.
There he goes, the great Brad Sham, joining us here on the official postgame show of your Dallas Cowboys, brought to you by WinStar. As the casino of the Dallas Cowboys, WinStar delivers thrills worthy of America's team. With over 10,000 of your favorite electronic games, the two-story WinStar Spawn Cascades, our luxury pool complex, WinStar is a world of wow. Please game responsibly. Just got to see our buddy Matt Pittman.
How about that?
At church.
Yes.
In the flesh.
I watched a video of
legend.
him last night cooking some standing rib roast and stuff. He's amazing.
He really, really is. He's
Yep.
incredible.
Yep.
All right, back to your calls and texts. We'll also hear from your head coach, Mike McCarthy, Cooper Rush, who might have played definitely his best half of football, arguably, as a Dallas Cowboy. So much more to get to. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
It's football season. Grab your Dallas Cowboys gear at JCPenney.
Eye Center, I can see near, far, and between. Don't fumble your vision any longer. Visit them at dfweyes.com and tell them Darren sent you. They got me back on my game.
2nd and 9 at the Dallas 29. Snap is back. Delayed blitz. They've got him surrounded and sacked. Joseph's lying on the ground. The smart veteran. Lying on the ground. He looks up. He sees Mayfield running by, and he just pulled the plug on his tire.
Man, that was a wild sack. They're back-to-back good play sequences for Linval Joseph. Got a nice run stuff, and then on the ground, able to trip up Baker Mayfield. One of the 4 sacks on the day for this Cowboys defense. Micah Parsons getting into the action as well. He got his 50th career sack. Congratulations to Micah, as he's the 6th NFL player since 1982 with at least 50 sacks in his first 4 seasons, joining Reggie White, Derek Thomas, J.J. Watt, DeMarcus Ware, and Dwight Freeney. Pretty incredible what players like Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb are doing in their young careers as they're putting themselves in elite territory right now with some of those names. 26-24, Cowboys get the win as we hang out at the Miller Lite Field Club here at AT&T Stadium. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout, Bryan Broaddus. Let's hear from head coach Mike McCarthy, who took the podium after the victory.
Mike, could you just talk about your emotion when you found out you guys had been eliminated, and what were your thoughts into the way your team played and never quit, never gave up?
Definitely. I mean, before the game, it was a real punch in the gut, to say the least. Just because of the way that the Washington-Philadelphia game went. But you just kind of take that moment to sit back and watch, and watch how the guys warmed up, watch the interactions in the locker room, and it wasn't much different than a normal game. So, and then you just want to keep your mind in it too, and stay focused, and I'll tell you, I thought our guys did a hell of a job. I mean, the only thing we really changed was, we came into the game, and we have a game management meeting every Friday, and have a plan on, the coin toss, and the decision was to defer today, just based off the variables we go through, and then we just said, hey, let's take the ball and let's get up and get going and get this thing started the right way. So, I thought it was good the offense went out there and got some points on the board. But I just love the way our team plays. I just can't say enough about the locker room. Their pride, their character, their toughness, resiliency, defense. Had to have it with the takeaways there in the fourth quarter. It's remarkable. Just to see the bounce back, and give Tampa a lot of credit. I have a lot of respect for Todd. That's a hell of a football team. Offensively, we were able to get some points on the board there in the first half, but boy, we just, their run defenses, that was a grind. It was definitely not a bright spot for us, but when teams play to one another, like we have been the past month, you win games, and that's the reality of this league. It's so hard to win a game in this league, but I just can't say enough about the character of our football team, and really was no blink. So I think once we got the game kicked off, we fell into the way we planned on playing, regardless of what happened before we went out there. That's what it felt like.
We saw a video of Jerry hugging you and giving you a talk in the locker room. Can you share what he said, and then just.
That's common. Jerry hugs me all the time. I don't know why it's such a big deal, but no, it's late. But winning's hard. This is it's a partnership. So yeah, we just talked about the game, and just what a great effort it was, from the players and coaches, and just how proud he is of the team.
There he is, your head coach, Mike McCarthy, after a 26-24 Cowboys win over the Bucs. Today's game between the Bucs and the Cowboys here at AT&T Stadium, brought to you by WinStar. WinStar is proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly. Anything stand out to you there, Bryan, from what Coach had to say?
No, he's there was disappointment about them, but you kind of knew that there was a very, very, very slight chance that you were going to have a shot at the playoffs, and. But they have been playing hard. Jerry's talking about that. I just went on record saying give the man an extension. If you feel this positively about the direction of the team, the coach, and the coaching staff, Mike Zimmer and these others, these coaches, going out and getting a big victory tonight, reward the man. Give him that contract extension, and then, circle this thing back around for the draft. Like Brad Sham's talking about, you got a lot of players you have to, a lot of holes you have to fill. You got to get your quarterback healthy, but you got to figure out some cap things. But yeah, run this thing back and see what happens. But that's going to be Jerry Jones' call. But I went from being like 0% chance of him coming back to, after all this positivity that I'm hearing from the general manager and the director of player personnel and all that stuff like that, by all means, if you guys feel good about this, you guys go ahead and bring him back and let him do this again.
Do you feel good about the way it's going, the direction that this thing's going in?
I think, as I've told you before, I think the players are playing. I will say this about Mike McCarthy. It's not an accident to get short week and win games, right, which he's been able to do. I think Mike McCarthy getting your team to Sunday, sometimes Monday, does a really, really nice job. Are there problems I have with him and the play calling and stuff? Absolutely, I do. But if you're comfortable with how he gets the team ready, and I've said this before, and I'm sorry, folks, I repeat myself, but I'm an old man. That's what I do. I repeat myself. But I think this team is playing hard for themselves. They're playing hard for each other.
Yeah, it's the NFL.
But they're showing up because they do not. There's a lot of those guys out there that don't have skins on the wall. CeeDee Lamb is playing hard because he has the pride that he signed a big contract, and you feel obligated to go out there and deliver on that. And guys like Rico Dowdle trying to get Oso Digizua, Jordan Lewis. Just keep naming guys. Name Deron Bland. Just keep naming guys. I mean, this team has done a great job of putting this team, together with some of the players they've had. Should have had some bad luck, had some things go the wrong way. But, overall, though, they are going to get picked over in free agency next year, or this spring. Teams are going to look at this tape and they're going, God, their record's not very good, but look at this guy play. Look at this guy play. That's where this thing is going to go. So, it's a tough situation. They're not going to be able to sign all these guys, but by all means, if the general manager feels this good, hey, let's see the extension from Mike McCarthy and go from there and run this thing back.
877-881-1053, the number to call, the number to text. You mentioned CeeDee Lamb, CD talking post-game as well, and he's gotten this thing out with really one arm, and here was CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee, can you talk about the fight in this team because you guys refuse to go away?
Yeah, man, it's great to see, obviously, the grit that we've gone through. The situation that we're obviously in, but as for us, we're showing gratitude to the game, showing how much we love and appreciate everything and every opportunity that we get, and going out there and playing our ass off.
Let's talk about the play where you hurt your shoulder and then the next play where you almost thought you had the touchdown.
I really scored. But my shoulder is out of whack, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm just out there battling and doing what I do. So yeah, bro, it's not fun. It's not fun.
What's the biggest reason why you keep going?
Yeah. I love this game that much, and I'm literally willing to put my body out there on the line for my guys and show. I mean, not so much show how tough I am, but it shows. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna take. I mean, it's the ground that's beating me up, bro, and you can't avoid it.
Before the season, you were upset when people were questioning and loving the game and the holdout.
Right.
Do you feel like you're answering those questions that that some fans had by playing through the pain the way that you are right now?
Yeah, I feel like now I've kind of went way past the narrative of the money situation. I mean, I do it for the money, of course, but like it's way more than that. Like this is my way of life. This is what I've always wanted to do growing up. This is all I wanted to be growing up. So I'm right now living my dream. So for anyone that's thinking that I'm playing for money, it's kind of insane. It's kind of insane.
When the Washington game ended, Washington won, did it change any of the mood into this game? Because you guys looked like you were still, that didn't mean anything to y'all.
No, I didn't really mean anything to us. Obviously, we wanted the Eagles to win to fulfill our run. But, I mean, everybody got to do what they got to do. right now it's just for us. We're not going to be in the playoffs, and that's the realistic thing about it. And I hate it for us, which we were playing past January, but, I mean, that's unfortunate for us. So right now, we can just focus on these next 2 games that we have guaranteed and do what we got to do.
You moved past Jerry Rice with scrimmage yards in the first 5 years. You moved past Drew Pearson for receptions for the Cowboys in the first 5 years. What does that mean to you, especially in a year with so much adversity and you sitting here battling your shoulder and whatnot?
It's tough this year to really think about any of the accolades and accomplishments right now. It's just about staying healthy and keeping my shoulder attached to my body. I'm going to be dead serious with you. So, like, right now I'll think about it maybe in the offseason or something, but I'm definitely grateful for the opportunity. Blessed to be in this position and continue to do what I love.
CeeDee Lamb after a 26-24 win, and he was amazing in the first half of this game and trying to gut it out. I mean, you can see just how important he is to this offense.
Yeah.
When he's not on the field, they really can't run the ball. And they
Can't
were able,
do very much.
No, and they couldn't run it, period, tonight.
Sure.
I mean, I saw Todd Archer put out, according to ESPN research, Cowboys finished with 31 rushing yards. Second fewest rushing yards in a winning franchise history. Yeah, Giants week 8 of 1987.
Yeah.
They had 26 yards rushing and won.
Yeah, that was a bad Cowboy team that year, too.
I mean, and we've seen this approach against Tampa. We saw it in the season opener a few years ago where they just said, we're not running the football, we're throwing it. And I believe that was with Amari and CD and Gallup and Dak, and they had a heck of a game, and that they went toe-to-toe with Brady. But today, you didn't have Dak. You had Cooper Rush. You had CD.
Who played well, by the way.
He
Cooper
did.
Rush played well.
Coop did his thing, man. I mean, I know the second half, we keep harping on that. But, yeah, the first half, Cooper Rush was brilliant. And according to Next Gen, he recorded just under 4% completions over expected on the night. His first game with a positive completion percentage over expected this season. He threw for the 5th most yards of his career in the first half of the game, 26 of 35, 292 yards, and a touchdown. He was efficient. I mean, he started off the game, I think he was 9 of 10 after the first quarter.
Yeah, for 21 yards or something like that. It was crazy, the number. You and I were in the box, and every third down play, it was 3rd and 1, and they went shotgun empty, and we're like, okay, we're going to do one of these things tonight, Mike, huh? But hey, he did a great job, though. You worry about, I was coming in this game worried about linebacker pressure. I was worried about defensive tackle pressure, and I was worried about secondary pressure. And I felt like, Brad always talks about going and watching the game the next day. I'm sure we'll sit down, we'll see some blitzes, we'll see him get picked up, and I'm sure Cooper Rush did a good job. He did exactly what he needed to do when they had routes, in-breaking routes, we're in the middle of the field, get the ball in the middle of the field, get 5 to 7 yards, keep playing that way.
877-881-1053, number to call, number to text. We'll get back to your phones here in just a little bit. We'll hear from Micah Parsons. We've got Deron Bland, several other players. We're talking post-game, and we'll continue on breaking down a 26-24 Cowboys win over the Bucs. But right now, let's pause 10 seconds to allow stations to identify themselves across the Cowboys radio network.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Tolo, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey Sports Station.
Cowboys win it 26-24. They're 7-8 on the year. Next up, the Eagles. We'll look ahead to that one. We'll get more audio, your calls and texts. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys radio network.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame.
personalized, authentic Dallas Cowboys jersey while supplies last. You can even help fill the Cowboys house and win tickets to a game. Call 866-90Nation or visit windonation.com/Cowboys for details. Window Nation, proud partner of your Dallas Cowboys.
3rd and 5. What a big play this would be. 2:38 left in the half. Cowboys up 13-7. What a big play this would be to convert. There's a delayed blitz. Rush going deep down the right side for Lamb. Caught it over the shoulder. Broke away at the 30. Left at the 20. Hold down at the 10-yard line of Tampa Bay.
Unbelievable. One of the best catches of the season. CeeDee Lamb, that is our What a Play of the Game, presented by Reliant and NRG Company. And Next Gen Stats crediting CeeDee 7 of his 8 targets on Sunday night were made for 105 total yards. He had 4 receptions for 89 yards specifically against press coverage. Lamb faced press on a career-high 64% of his routes. He's now got 352 yards against press this season.
Boy, that was a big change for Tampa coming into this game. That they played a lot of off coverage, and they played a lot of zone coverage, and they played a lot of single high coverage too. So that was a big switch. They obviously felt like that he was the only thing that could beat them in this football game, and he damn well did.
He did. Yeah, and they weren't wrong, because as soon as he had to leave, things did not go well. But CeeDee was brilliant. Micah Parsons, also brilliant yet again. We mentioned he's now got 50 sacks for his career. I'm sure when we get the pressure rates, that's going to be very, very high. Micah in this one finishing did not record. He had that sack. He finished with 5 total tackles as well. Here was Micah Parsons after the game.
Micah, can you talk about the defense dominating in this victory? Because you guys were doing it.
Yeah, man. Like I said, we stepping up. We showing out. We're doing everything that I said we would do. And the king is, man, we got to keep finishing strong. At this point, I think it's just about letting the world be known what we're capable of. And like I said, fighting for our lives.
Earlier in the day, Washington won that game. Did that dampen anything? It seemed like you guys really didn't even care.
Nothing really mattered at that point. We had, a 0.2% chance. So, like I said, it was nothing about what Philly or anybody was doing. It had everything to do with us, our character, and what we believe in each other. No, I think that's the best part. We got nothing to lose. They got everything to lose: seeding, positioning, potential elimination. So it's good to be on the opposite end. That was not good, but it's nice.
Right. Mike, you're now 50 sacks, very, very select group, names like Reggie White on that list. When you think about that, what does that mean to you, what you've been able to accomplish in your career so far?
Man, that's some legendary stuff, man. But that's the halfway mark of the end goal. You know what I'm saying? We want to get to that 100 career. We eventually want to get to that, Hall of Fame status. I just did half of what they accomplished. That's not good enough. So we got to keep going, keep stacking these years. The bar's already high, so I just got to keep, just keep going.
Is this the year of overcoming? I say this because defensively, you guys had different injuries. You were injured yourself. You had to learn a new defense with Zim's new defense compared to DQs. Can you talk about the defense as far as overcoming all these different obstacles to be successful?
Yeah, like I said, earlier this week, it was more of, proving people wrong. I think everyone had us written off, and everyone kind of decided our future for us, and we were just like, hold on. We could be a damn good football team, and we could win games. It's on us. Forget it. We lose our quarterback. We lose some other players. Mm-hmm. Okay, acceptance, reality. Now, where are we at? How are we going to get better? What do we have to fix? What do we have to look at? And that's what we've been doing every day, and everyone's trying to get better. We're doing better, rushing better, controlling the run better. Offense is moving the ball better, trying to limit us getting off the field. So we've been playing way better complementary football. It just sucks we waited this long, but it is what it is.
Micah Parsons following a 26-24 Cowboys win over the Bucs. Zach Wolchuk alongside the Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus. I got to say, I think you've just seen tremendous growth from Micah. As a player, he's always been phenomenal. I think sometimes you would hear Micah say things that sounded like the right thing, but the actions didn't mirror the words. It's starting to be exactly what you were hoping leadership-wise from him. I think the people around him probably deserve credit. I'm sure his agent, David Mulugeta, has had conversations with him. But also, I mean, sometimes it's just, maturing and growing and finding yourself. And, Micah is, I think he's taken tremendous strides. I've been critical of him at times. But I love everything that he's been preaching and saying, and he's showing it now, not only with his actions on the field, but off of it as well. And that's a great sign moving forward. I guess my biggest takeaway is, can they somehow start the season next year just pretending like they've got nothing to lose? Because it's clearly working with that mentality as they're winning games now.
Yeah, he is doing a much better job. And, there have been times during his career, and this is not from the Joneses, this is not from Jerry or Steven or anything like that, but, we do a lot of work in that building, and, there's been some whispers about, his availability, his leadership, his desire to be, it's much, he has a lot of other interests. And the one thing that we learned, that he was not interested in school football, where you come into OTAs and class and all that. And I'm not saying that was the deciding why they got off to a slow start, but there was a disconnect there. And it was, maybe it wasn't just Micah Parsons. Maybe there were a lot of people that really hated to see Dan Quinn go. And, here's Mike Zimmer, and they're kind of looking at, Mike, he's on a 1-year deal. McCarthy's on a 1-year deal. You just, as a group, you're kind of, we were watching those training camp practices, and we're thinking, okay, this is a little bit different. Oh, they're going to disguise this. They're going to do that. And then the injuries started to mount, and the team wasn't playing very well. But then they kind of all figured it out. They all said, okay, hey, the Jordan Lewises, and I think Jordan Lewis has played well all year. Micah Parsons, he missed all that time. And I think that time off actually helped Micah Parsons. Because you look at right now, usually by this time of the season, Micah Parsons is completely beat all to hell.
Yeah.
Physically. And I feel like that, he came out and he started talking about, hey, we're a much better team. We're this. We're, you jump off the bandwagon if you want. And you're like, okay, Micah, that's great. When all of a sudden you decide to be a leader. But I think he's actually genuine now with his leadership. I don't think this is fake or trying to be a guy that's getting, trying to get a big contract.
Mm-hmm.
I think he really, really is trying. Now, we'll see what the off the field, with the weight room stuff, the meeting stuff. We'll see how all that plays out. But at least this thing is going the right direction with him as far as the way he plays on the field.
Amen. 877-881-1053. As always, the number to call, the number to text. Let's get a few of your calls in here as we're with you until the top of the hour. Let's go to Caden in New Mexico. What's going on, man?
Hello?
Hello, what's up,
Caden?
Hi, this is Caden.
What's up, Caden? What do you got?
I just wanted to say everybody was a Grinch today. It's Christmas time and we just won.
Thank you, Caden. I appreciate the comment. I saw actually Brock Hoffman was wearing a Grinch suit after the game. They understood the assignment as they're ruining Christmas for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Atlanta, I think, was also a big winner in this one with the Cowboys getting that.
How about
victory.
Atlanta? They're in a situation now where they've had some bad losses, but they've gone to the rookie quarterback. So now their division hopes and dreams are on the shoulders of Michael Penix. And Michael Penix's time last year was huge at the University of Washington. Michael Penix, everywhere he's been, Indiana, Washington, he's been a winner. So, man, if you're the Atlanta Falcons fans, do you feel good? And that was a win against the Giants. There's no better team to play against to get your first start against the Giants.
Pretty perfect.
But do you feel like that? Do you feel like if you had to handicap the two, do you like Atlanta or do you like what you saw with this Tampa Bay team?
It's Tampa just lost. I'd still lean Tampa. They went on the road last year and almost knocked off Detroit in that second round. I mean, they went toe-to-toe with them. So I think I'd still honestly favor
Right.
Baker, who
winning the division.
Yeah, and I like Michael Penix Jr. I mean, with the work we do on the draft, I think both of us looked at him and were like, this guy kind of has the it factor. I mean, for everything you just mentioned, like he's won everywhere he's been. You watched him against Texas; he shredded that secondary. Right. He did have a lot of talent around him, but I think Penix and the Falcons have a chance. But I think if I had to go, which one could make noise in the NFC playoffs more? I'd probably pick against
beat them twice this year, too,
They
which
did.
is crazy.
I know. Kirk Cousins had his best games.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It really is. Okay, back to the phones. Let's try to get one more in. We got Ignacio in California. What's going on?
Hey, gentlemen, you guys are outstanding. You know, and I am just grateful that I was able to finally get in.
Thank you.
Calling from the Bay Area in Northern California. I always, for whatever reason, I try to call in. I have no luck. My question tonight is this. For both of you and specifically for Bryan. Mm-hmm. Bryan, at one point, you were at a point where, okay, this Mike McCarthy thing, we're bringing him back, we're bringing the band back, are we moving on? What are we doing, right? You were at 0. Now you're thinking that maybe we are bringing him back. My question is this. As a fan, I'd like to think that I'd like to have an elite-level coach specifically for the Dallas Cowboys in the franchise, who we are and what we've been.
Yeah.
A coach that can win you a game or 3, if you will.
Difference maker.
During the season. A difference maker, correct?
Yeah.
Now, I'm kind of in the fence. I love McCarthy. I'm a Zimmer fan. But I don't know that there was so much, if you will, inconsistency, lack of identity throughout the season and the year sometimes in terms of our offense and play calling. Kind of like insanity, just doing the same thing over and over again. Pass happy.
Sure.
As a fan, I to be quite honest, I was hopeful that maybe I was one of those fans that kind of was more of like, okay, give me a top 10 draft pick. Let's move forward. Let's have a new voice in there, and let's bring somebody to elevate Dak Prescott moving forward. If he's gonna be the quarterback for the next couple of years. Otherwise, we need to move in a different direction. So my question is are you feeling different now based on what we've done? Which has been.
It's Jerry Jones. I'm just.
Okay.
My reaction has not changed about Mike McCarthy at all. If he doesn't want to give up to play calling, I'm not interested in having him here. But I'm now challenging Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones to get this thing done, because all I've heard from them is positivity about Mike McCarthy and how hard this team has played. So go ahead. You made the Dak extension.
Yep.
You got CD extended. Go ahead and extend this head coach and see how it goes. I personally have not changed at all. I'm just telling you what I see the general manager challenging him. If you feel this is the right way to go, then go do this. That's all I'm saying. Me personally, I could go to find another coach. I think I could. I think I could interview enough coaches to bring one in here who can maybe be a difference maker. But to Jerry Jones, if you're going to stand up there and talk about this guy like you have, then let's see the extension. Put your money where your mouth is on that one.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Ignacio. I agree with you. This offense, I don't think, is good enough, and it wasn't good with Dak.
Yeah.
Like you can't just be prisoner of the moment.
Sure.
And yeah, they've won 4 of 5, and they are playing galvanized football right now.
Yep.
And they're playing for one another. But that's really what an NFL team is expected to do. You know, if the baseline here is okay, they're playing hard and they're not quitting. You know, we need to have better expectations overall. I think Bobby alluded to that. It is, I think, everything that we've talked about. Like, I'm not going to be hypocritical. I don't think Mike McCarthy is a difference maker on game day. I think you saw today reasons why.
I totally agree.
There was a challenge that he could have had on the sideline on a play that I don't know was a catch against Tampa Bay.
Didn't challenge it.
A timeout burned early in the fourth quarter that you might have ended up needing. It was 3 and out, and I get it. You didn't have your best player on the field for the majority of it, and CeeDee Lamb and Tolbert got hurt. But hell, you look at what Zim's doing with that defense out there. I mean, I meant it when I said it. You said at the beginning of the season Mike Zimmer might save Mike McCarthy's job.
I appreciate you remembering that.
I think the defense and Zim saved it today because we would be having a much different story if Deron Bland doesn't make a heroic play and somehow Tampa Bay is in position to win this game 27-26. We'd be looking at the failure of the offense in the second half. And who is that a reflection of? Mike McCarthy, who is the play caller.
But like I say, the general manager, we have our feelings about this thing. But you know what? I keep hearing. I keep saying they don't care about what you and I think. We could talk about this all night. But if the general manager and the vice president of player personnel believe this is the right guy, then make that extension. Go make that extension for this guy. If you guys feel this strongly about him, you know what? And then we'll figure it out. We'll navigate the draft and free agency, and then it might be, okay, well, if we're in the same boat, it's like, well, this one's on the general manager, because all we heard was positivity, positivity. Guys playing hard. Guys got him. You know how I feel. Team playing hard because team not established.
Yeah.
Once they get established, then maybe we have a different angle on this football or this head coach.
More your calls and texts. We'll also hear from Deron Bland, who, of course, sealed the deal to this victory. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd...
icons where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
Mayfield in the gun. 5-man rush. Here's Lewis. Sacked him. He's not down yet. and he somehow threw it to White, who caught it, and then Hooker takes him down. And Bland comes away with the ball, but they
got
ruled
it.
him
No,
down.
he's got it. Bland's got it.
Oh, Bland comes away with the ball.
Oh, man, Deron Bland. What an incredible play that was. As it seemed like Jordan Lewis on the corner blitz had Baker Mayfield sacked dead to right. Somehow he shovels it to Rachaad White. And what a play. As Deron Bland just said, that's my football. I'm taking that, and I'm going to go ahead and hold on to win this football game for my team. Shout out to Deron Bland, our defensive stop of the game. And afterwards he caught up with the media, including our own Chris Arnold.
Deron Bland, congratulations. That was a great victory tonight. Can you talk about how the defense was strong from start to finish?
Yeah, I mean, for the whole game, we kind of kept them under control for a little bit. So, but towards the end, we kind of had some mess up. So, it felt good to come out there in the end and stay strong and not let up and give them another touchdown.
Well, let's talk about the end, because you sealed it with the fumble recovery. Talk about that play. What happened, what you see, and what you did.
Baker was getting out the pocket and he threw that ball out. So, and the running back kind of had it loose. So I was like, I got to go get there. So I tried to get there so quick and just get the ball and make a play.
Congratulations and Merry Christmas.
I appreciate it.
Deron Bland.
Shout out to the three-timer Chris Arnold right there, three-time Hall of Famer with Deron Bland. Fantastic performance. And honestly, I mean, there was another play with J-Mac McMillan of Tampa Bay where it looked like, and Deron Bland did get beat, but he plays through the ball, and him being able to break it up before McMillan's able to fully have possession of it was a huge incompletion in the game as well. So even though Deron Bland did give up some catches here and there, still some huge plays, and in the biggest moment comes up with the game-saving turnover there. Incredible job by Deron Bland.
Yeah, they've missed him the entire season. When now he's been coming back here the last several weeks, but man, this secondary just never ever got to play together this year. It just never did. And the linebacking core, they've had their problems. The edges have had their problems. It's a shame that this defense. The first time, or the time they played the best maybe was that Cleveland game opening day. But then they had a couple of games, where they weren't very good. But man, I'll tell you what though, these backups have come in and given them that. It's been a revolving door at corner, and it's hard to imagine that, and I know that Mike Zimmer took a lot of grief that people were not like, oh, this is terrible and blah 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 blah. Him and his staff did a great job of pulling this thing together, and give the players a lot of credit too, because they have not had. Now, I'll say once again, they had it, the first few weeks of the season. But like I said, I think if you played the Saints now, it would be a lot different story. I think if you played, if you look at the maybe even the Atlanta game, maybe it would be a different story. There's some games that they just. But the Ravens game, the Saints game, they weren't good enough. They had some historic. Philadelphia, I mean, they held them into the they held it
really
halfway.
Houston, and then second half
Houston, I mean, they never were able to kind of play some complete games. But 4 of the last 5, they've played some complete games, and I think that's helped them in a lot of ways.
That's the Super Bowl winning scout, Bryan Broaddus. I'm Zach Wolchuk, 877-881-1053 as the Cowboys improved to 7-8, 26-24. They get the win. Did get a text from the 214. We'd be looking at it a lot differently if we didn't have a backup quarterback in that offense. Y'all make good points, but then completely ignore the other side. I mean, I'd like more clarification from the 214 if you don't mind, but I don't think we are. Because you got to go back and look when even Dak was in there.
When Dak was in there, they had some problems.
The offense was bad.
They did not do very well.
So that's why I'm trying to be fair all the way around. I mean, you just brought up with the defense, like you had DeMarcus Lawrence, you had Micah Parsons, and you looked terrible. You didn't have Bland, but you had Diggs still. You looked terrible against New Orleans and Baltimore back-to-back weeks. And the final score, when you look at it, like Baltimore, it's a 3-point loss. No, they were getting drubbed and destroyed, and then you scored a couple of late touchdowns in that game to make it competitive.
It's kind of Baltimore's MO to give up late touchdowns. But no, there's no pass. I mean, to me, I'm just telling you what Stephen Jones told us, world's smallest violin. Nobody feels sorry for you about these injuries. Nobody cares. All these teams are dealing with injuries. Not every team is dealing with their starting quarterback being out, but let's be honest, when Dak was in here, they weren't very good offensively.
Absolutely.
Either.
Like, if the offense was humming and you were the number one offense in football like they have been, then yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. But it wasn't. And yeah, if you want to complain about the contract and all that, I mean, that's another story.
Are they complaining about the contract?
I mean, 972 is Dak $57.5 million better than Cooper Rush is the question.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is better
Yes.
than Cooper Rush.
Yes, he is better.
I don't think that's really a conversation.
Yeah.
But, hey, Cooper Rush did what he needed to do to get the victory tonight. First half was great. I mean, it really, really was. Unfortunately, when you don't have CD, things are very, very difficult and challenging for this offense. They just don't have a ton of other playmakers
They sure
to
don't.
step up. Okay, we'll put a bow on this one. We'll get our player of the game. More from you as well. 877-881-1053. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
It's football season. Grab your Dallas Cowboys gear at JCPenney.
Airlines, proud to be the official airline of your Dallas Cowboys. And by Ford, your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
Back and looking. All kinds of time. Deep ball. Down to the middle. Oh, McMillan, did he catch it? No, it's intercepted! Jordan Lewis in the end zone, pulled it out of his hands. Jordan Lewis, how do you keep doing that?
That is our player of the game, and what an amazing play that was. But game for Jordan Lewis, your 2024 Cowboys defensive MVP. In my opinion, Jordan Lewis finishing with 6 tackles, that interception, was getting pressure as well throughout the game.
Yeah.
I mean, the last play for Bland. I mean, he's draped all over Baker Mayfield. He has to shovel past
Slot
it.
blitz, yeah.
Unbelievable. Jordan Lewis, our player of the game, brought to you by Jack Black. Want to use with the pros? Use Jack Black as the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit getjackblack.com today. He was brilliant. And another player who has been very, very good as well down the stretch, Osa Odighizuwa. Both free agents, by the way. As we've discussed, the Cowboys are going to have some conversations, and they're going to have some tough decisions on who they can and cannot keep. But here was Osa catching up with the media.
Y'all are flying all over the place on defense tonight. Congratulations on the win.
Appreciate you.
Osa, you said something for the whole team before the game. What was your message? Because everybody was fired up.
You know, I told them, and I mean, with the timing of everything, like us being out of the playoffs, you know, I'm just saying, like, we got a couple more opportunities left. We don't have a lot of time, so we got to make the most out of the opportunities that we have left. I always tell them I love the team. I love the brotherhood that we have, you know, so just make the most out of the opportunities that we have.
Can you talk about how you guys had to take over the game, basically, because Baker Mayfield's trying to march them down the field at the end there. DB made the big play with the fumble recovery, the whole 9 yards. What was that last drive like?
I said one more time, sorry.
This is the last drive for the Tampa Bay trying to get that field goal at the end of the game. Y'all snuffed that out.
You know, just
had to stand up, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Just had to stand up. Good way to step up at the end of the game. Shout out to DB getting that fumble recovery. You know, I think we played some good ball.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas.
All right.
Unbelievable as Osa and this defense continue to shine week in, week out. And now you'll be looking at Philadelphia. It'll be a 3:25 kick. Pregame will start at 12:30 here on the Cowboys Radio Network. Postgame will go until 9:30. But now you're trying to ruin the Eagles' chance of winning the division title next week at home. And they might not have Jalen Hurts. It might be Kenny Pickett starting at quarterback.
Might be Kenny Pickett, and then you've also got Saquon Barkley's chasing this rushing record with with Eric Dickerson. So if it's Kenny Pickett, how much do you think Kellen Moore is going to say, listen, we need to try and run this football? And Dallas has done a pretty good job of playing some run defense. We felt like tonight was going to be a little bit of a challenge, and they did a really nice job of holding up for the most part. They didn't get killed in the running game a lot. There were some positive runs, successful runs, but yeah, if Kenny Pickett's playing quarterback for you next week for the Philadelphia Eagles, I can almost guarantee you're going to see a ton of Saquon Barkley in that football game.
And they really did keep Barkley in check for the majority of that first
second
game.
half. They really did a nice job against him.
They did. They absolutely did. That was one of the big games today on a miraculous comeback from Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, which unfortunately did knock the Cowboys out of the playoffs. But they got that win 36-33. Commanders now 10-5. Eagles 12-3. Rams have now clinched a winning season under Sean McVay for the 7th time in his 8 years. They're 19-9. They beat the Jets. They're now looking to be in the driver's seat of the NFC West.
Seattle took a loss to Minnesota today.
They did.
Right?
And the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, first coach in their history to win 13 games. The Lions win 13 games as well for the first time in their franchise
wild,
history.
Huh?
It is. 2 13-game winners there just in the NFC North. That is nuts. You already mentioned the Falcons. Now they control their own destiny in the NFC South, 34-7. They beat the Giants. Michael Penix Jr. making his debut. Got some help from Bijan Robinson with a couple of touchdowns, almost 100 yards rushing. So we'll see moving forward what happens with the Falcons there. The Bengals kept limited hopes alive, 24-6. They beat the Browns. Colts avoided a disaster collapse with a 38-30 win against the Titans. Titans made that a one-score game after it was like 38-7. The Colts up in that one. Panthers knocked the Cardinals out of the playoffs with a 36-30 overtime win. What a difference a week makes.
Yeah.
Cowboys just manhandling Carolina, and then here comes Arizona playing for their playoff dreams, and Bryce Young and company take them to overtime and get the win.
Yep.
That's crazy. Bills and Patriots. Patriots fought hard in this one, but 24-21. Buffalo got the win there, and the Raiders knocking off the Jags. Raiders dropped from number 1 to number 5.
Dallas at 15 now.
Cowboys
at
15.
Order.
Yep.
Got that right in that position, that running back from Boise.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, no, there's a lot of players. As Brad Sham says, keep that board open. Keep that board open.
Want to get a corner?
Yeah, there are a lot.
You get the best corner in the draft. He's coming off the torn ACL, but Siobhan Ravel might be the guy there.
East Carolina Mighty Pirate.
Yep. Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from Ohio State, also coming off knee injury.
Ooh.
But
Big
you
time
watch
player.
that dude
maybe the
blocking.
best tackle in the draft.
Man, best run blocker, that's for darn sure. That dude is a nasty, nasty run blocker. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you could go there. I mean, we'll still be finding good players.
Yeah.
And then the Dolphins officially eliminate the 49ers 29-17. They get the win there. Thank you so much to Peyton Russell holding it down, Ross Lubinsky, Kevin Walker, Ruben, always doing an excellent job here engineering, Tim Collins, Gavin Spittle. Appreciate all your hard work as well. The great Super Bowl winning scout, Bryan Broaddus. We'll be back next week. I'm Zach Wolchuk. Until then, hugs and ham pounds, everybody. We'll have pregame starting at 12:30. Postgame will roll till 9:30.
Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Until next week, you are listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. We love ya.
Hey Cowboys fans, the Bahamas is calling. Start planning your ultimate getaway today at bahamas.com/cowboys. From Nassau's vibrant culture to Exuma's serene shores and the adventure of the Out Islands, there's something for everyone.